you need, it's not only a question of light and shadow, but basically everything exists from two things. You have the life and death. You need always two things, past and the future. All the drama is in between some two things, like light and shadow. When you want to have a shadow, you need some light. And when you show the light, you need a shadow. So everything is existing from two things. And that's the basic idea of all kind of art. There's the space in between the two polars, like the North Pole and the South Pole. It's a magnetic field. It's the day and the night, a woman and a man, day and life and death. What can I say? The past and the future. You need two things. And the space in between is the space of the art, of the music, of everything. And dus I'm always starting with two things, trying to find the space in between, to show the space in between. It's an adventure. And what I also like to do is, when I make a film, I never know the end. It's a building. I'm working in time. I need a couple of years to work on a film. I need the time, and I need all kind of people around me who are better than me. I have the best cameraman of Holland, the best art director, the best actors, and so on. And together we are creating something above our head, and that's always that kind of curiosity is the basis of making a film, even the film about Rembrandt. No. When you are making a film, and the creative part is making the script, but after that you are only talking in the way of, is it working or not working? It means that the public is finishing the film. The film is what it is, and it's our work, but it's again another 50%. The other 50% is the audience, and they are creating together the experience. It means that a film without the public is no film at all. You need someone who is looking at the several images to connect them, and then to start something in your head. And when you are talking about the public, it's so many kind of people are watching the film, and there are also so many different opinions and experiences, and that's what I like. It's a sort of half. I was doing the half, and the other half is the people who are watching it. And I was satisfied, but it was quite a successful film in Japan, in France, not in Holland, in Russia, but what can I do? I can't explain that. The Dutch are very interested in Rembrandt for the reason that everybody likes Rembrandt. I think that's the case. They are not, it's too close. You need a sort of distance, I think. In my opinion, is film the only art form who can play with time. Film and time is more or less similar. It's a three-dimensional painting. It's also it's three-dimensional. It's the playing with time. I like that very much. For instance, what I told you before, that when you know, the fact is that there is a girl, one of the daughters is born at a certain moment. When you are reading that kind of things, you are forgetting her. But when you are showing it, she's still in his house all the time. She's around. But when you are reading the facts of his life, you only remember when she was born or married or something else. But when you are putting all the details together, there's a sort of building. Everything is going on in his house. You know what I mean, I hope. I hope that it's very complicated to explain. But that's what and yeah, what can I say about this? Yeah, that's it. Um, yeah, you are trying to get the soul, and it will take you some time. It's a searching process. You are not satisfied. You don't know why, but you are trying to do it in another way, and then you put the images together, and suddenly something is growing. But it's a searching, like painting. You have sometimes, especially Rembrandt was coming back on certain paintings, and some paintings are staying there for a couple of months, and then he is taking it back and looking again. And it's also a road to objectivity. Everything is subjective. You can do what you like, but then you want to show it to someone else, to a public. You need a public for showing your thing, and then you are working to, that it's a sort of strange kind of objectivity, but objectivity doesn't exist. But this is a way to show what you are thinking, how it is, but what's the truth? The truth doesn't exist. It's also not, and even for me, that the answers were important, but the questions were important. I was busy with the questions. Why? But I knew also that I didn't find the answers. But yeah, it's very complicated. That's the reason that I'm visual orientated. Talking about that kind of things is always very complicated. In the 17th century, paintings in Holland were very world famous, special in the last century, in the 20th century, for the reason that all the paintings were based on famous people who are paying the paintings, or the Bible of Jesus Christ, all the holy figures. But after the Reformation in Holland, the north part of Holland, Amsterdam for instance, is Protestant. It was not allowed to make pictures of it, of holy people. Protestant churches has no images. And then they have to find another subject. And there are no subjects, you can't. And then they are starting to paint flowers, or interiors of houses, or details, or the beautiful bird of Fabricius, all that. And that was the first time in the history that they are painting all kind of other things outside holy figures and that kind. And then you see also there are a lot of beautiful paintings how normal people are living in the 17th century, and that's a big inspiration for going in that century. And I feel very familiar to that age, that century. I know I was also making a film about the Middle Ages and so on. Peter Bruegel, you know,
yes.
He makes also that kind of paintings of normal farmers, normal people. And it gives me a lot of inspiration. Yeah, the 17th century is very familiar to me. When I'm in a museum and I see from a distance, it's a sort of smell. 17th century pictures of paintings of Holland are very, very common. I know them all also.
Maybe because these are there is this anthropological aspect of these paintings.
Yeah.
And the anthropological aspect, it's a cinematographical aspect.
Perhaps,
somehow.
yeah. And when you're showing something normal, not a face, but a street or an interior or a house, you want to put something extra in it. It gives you another kind of inspiration. Even the street starts to be a portrait. The lines, the fight against the frame, it's all there. They are concentrating almost on nothing. There was nothing, and then they are concentrating on the simple things, and then something else is coming up, a new kind of soul. I was in the Russian Museum in St. Petersburg with the conservator who was telling me something about the icons, the Russian icons. And I was asking him why the people love that painting so much. And I see no emotions. All the paintings look like the same. They are flat. Only the colors and symbols, they look like the same. And he told me, I said, there are no emotions in the painting. And then he said to me, no, of course not. The emotions are in the people who are watching it. And you in the West are lousy. All the emotions are already in the painting. And then you are starting and walking around and okay. But when in Russia, the Russian culture is very visual too. All the music is visual, all the ballet music, all the fairy tales. It's very, very visual. And that's the reason that I'm perhaps popular in Russia, that they are working with the images. They are active. They are looking in an active way. And that's perhaps something. Now I'm coming there so often that I see the funny things. I have beautiful examples. From the Western point of view in Russia, it's a totally other world. Especially the details, all kind of details in normal life. It's very funny also. And I'm very interested in that. And always I try to tell that stories at home, and they start to laugh. But it's not only laughing. It is. I like the way how they are. They are looking inside. They are very concentrated on Russia. They are also, the people are also looking inside. You can call it the Russian soul, but it's very down to earth, living day by day. And we in the West are only thinking of tomorrow, and tomorrow doesn't exist. But when you have a tomorrow, there's another tomorrow. And the Russians are here and now, and I like that in a certain way. But to be honest, when I'm in Moscow, I want to go back. But when I'm in Holland, I want to go to Russia. That is a sort of thing. I made already 2 films with Russia, and and now I'm preparing something about the city of Moscow. And it's going well, very well. I'm writing this. What's Europe? It's Eastern Europe. But they are looking at the east a little bit. But it's going to the Far East. It's in the middle. It's not Buddhism, but it's something in the middle. The problem in the West is that we are knowing everything better. Especially the Dutch people are knowing everything better. They know exactly how to rule the world. But that's a very big mistake, I think. It's a very big mistake. And I remember the Russians are farmers. They are living on the countryside. They are farmers. They are living from the ground. Very pure kind of. And then suddenly they have some leaders like the Tsars and the Soviets and so, and they have to do suddenly what the leaders want to do. For instance, Peter the Great wants to go to the West, and the Russians have to learn French. They have to wear French clothes, and they are making buildings and getting art from the West and so. And suddenly it was the first time. He was looking for the first time in the Russian history to the West. Everybody was always looking at the East. And then suddenly Napoleon came in with 600,000 soldiers to destroy Russia. And that's very funny. And funny in a certain way that Peter the Great has to fight against this big example. And they went to Paris behind Napoleon to destroy him. And and then Hitler came, and I see many reasons for the Russians that they are not to trust the West. I think they are never attacking the West. They only, but that's what I like. That's what I think. The Russians and even people from Ukraine, they are such a kind of victims of the history, victims, suffering people during the centuries. And that's perhaps the idea. I'm not sure, but I like the Russians very much. They are very greedy. They want to hear everything. They want to. For me, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic subject.
This curiosity.
That's curiosity. Yeah.
That's what I'm. I think this is the.
And they know a lot about film. They know all the basic principles of filmmaking. It's coming from Russia, from Kuleshov and from Eisenstein and so on. They are creating the rules. For me, it's coming from Russia. Russia is it's based on Stalin propaganda machine, of course, but for the reason that it was the Russians couldn't read, and he was using the film for promoting his ideas. It was but at the same time, a lot of people are working Eisenstein and all that famous directors. But normally it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you write a book with a pencil or with a machine. Or the book is important. The cinema, the pellicule, or digital. It doesn't matter. It's the way. It's like a carriage. It's not the carriage is important, but where do you come from and where are you going to? It's something in the middle. It's a medium. A medium is not important. It have to help you to do what you like. But the problem is when it starts to be so cheap, you can do what you like, that the films are more or less start to be ego. It's sort of personal. Don't forget, you have always to fight for your public. When you have no public, you have no film. You have to do it together, and there are some certain rules. You have to protect the rules of filmmaking, and then you can do what you like. It doesn't matter what kind of material, but you have to protect the grammatica, the rules of filmmaking. There are some basic rules, and when you are doing something for yourself on video, it's okay, but it's and the most important problem is, of course, the television. But it's also a conditioning. How the people are watching film, it's very important you need a sort of attitude to sit and watch and think, and television is destroying that kind of. We now in Holland, we are making a lot of films look like television features. They are television films. It's not cinema. We call it. It's not cinema anymore. We use the word cinema for the real, authentic art of filmmaking. Of course, but there's also a chance. The whole adventure with the digital business. It's also it gives us also a big chance. When the photography came up, it was the starting point of the art of painting in the half of the 19th century. Then suddenly the painters started to be artists instead of professional portrait makers. So when the film came up in the 1920, 1930, everybody thought it was the end of the theater. And everybody went to the theater, or to the cinema. But at the same time, Brecht and all the people in Germany are talking about the fact what is now really theater, as a reaction on that. And then there started a new kind of theater in Germany before the war, Brecht, for instance. And now we have another chance that when the television is coming up, now we have the chance to talk about the real kind of cinema art. It gives us a chance. It's a sort of assault. You have to talk what is now real film. It will be never the same as in the 50s or in the 60s, but it will be something special. And that's a good discussion. That's a good thing to talk about. What is film instead of moving images on the wall? It's something more. It's a special art. It's a really original kind of art. You can't compare it with any other form of art. It's everything. For me, it's the highest. No, music is the highest, in my opinion, but then film is coming.
So, thank you.
Thank you.